Right. So the reason why your audience doesn't trust you as a business, as a provider for whatever it is that they depend on you for, is because you're not getting the PR and the comms just right. You've made some mistakes, or things haven't gone according to plan or according to their expectation. And the way that you've been communicating is not quite hitting the mark. Or let's just say you are afraid of this happening and you want to make sure you're a bit more prepared. So that's what this video is going to address for all sizes of businesses, entrepreneurs who don't have a PR within their team. I'm here for you. So that's what this playlist and series is dedicated to. I am Serena. I have 20 years plus of experience in comms, PR, multi sector. I'm chartered. I'm also a systems thinker and I'm studying at master's level as a mature student. And I stream right here on my YouTube channel on media, on politics, and entertainment. I also dabble with the creator economy. I do more than dabble, but the whole purpose of my content is for us to zoom out so much more, to read between the lines, and to essentially do the kind of thing that I have to do as a PR and comms practitioner and what I do for clients. So I've just gotten off a call and I'm about to have another one. And I thought I would come here and share a little bit of what I found myself repeating over and over. So grab yourself a chai. I've got some coffee here. Let's talk. Let's address the uh, scenario that you're actually getting it completely wrong, that you are not communicating effectively. You think you're being honest about your mistakes, but you're doing that thing that politicians do, and that is, I'm regretful, it shouldn't have happened. I did that because of this, this, and this, and the focus is now this, this, and this, but you still haven't addressed the pain. You haven't taken real accountability. I did an episode on my Lines with Serena podcast, which is for people who want to sort of improve their media literacy. And I did an episode called The Anatomy of an Apology. And the thing that a lot of people are missing are the sort of like essential ingredients of apologizing. And the big one there is for you to be absolutely accountable and not to end with, but I did it for this reason. It's the same douchey kind of apology that you get when people have said, that wasn't my intention if you were hurt. Just I find it really weird. I mean, I understand in the sort of in the field of business that that's going to hurt your bottom line. I get that, but just as a characteristic of a person. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you are more directly involved with your audience, then you might have to straddle that kind of very, actually, it's quite a firm line between being a business and having to communicate as a business and then just as a person every day. But as an entrepreneur, it's going to be tricky. So you're going to have to connect with a little bit more sincerity. And so this is what you have to do. You're going to have to accept that you're going to look bad because you're already looking bad. So you might as well look bad as somebody who is taking responsibility rather than somebody who's shirking it, avoiding it, and ignoring the opinion, the audience sentiment, all of it. That's first. Just accept that you're going to look bad. And I'm going to make this video short. The second thing is you have to take in all the audience sentiment, even the most unreasonable, and just address it. Put that into your preparation when you are preparing your statement or whatever it is you're going to say. But not just that, it's like, don't just look at it as, oh, okay, I'm going to kind of respond to that kind of thinking and that kind of opinion as well. No, that's actually reflective of a segment of your audience because you therefore have done something wrong. So you've got to not just address it in your PR lines. I'm going to sneeze. You actually have to address it as a business. So if they're saying something that, I don't know, your product is whack, wickety whack whack, or your service or whatever, your handling of something. Am I going to see? No. then you have to just address that. And you have to do a pivot or just a repositioning of what it was that you were trying to do and say. I would just address it and oh my goodness me. You can take a lesson from politicians. Politicians mostly have lines prepared for them, and they will stick to these lines and these talking points like it's a religion, like their lives depended on it, right? And what they end up doing is a completely miss acknowledging the pain and the pain point of the audience or whoever it is that they're addressing. They miss that bit. Imagine if you're in a relationship with that person and you're like, mm, so I hear you, but the policy is that, but instead you will not at all take any responsibility. You are just trying to get your line out. You're just trying to protect yourself. That's not somebody who is sincere. And so you could always take a lesson from politicians and just how bad they are at doing this kind of thing. And that's why so many people just flock to your most unsavory politician, if you like, because at least they're honest. You can just tell they're sincere, even though they might be wildly problematic, but at least they're being sincere. They're not cloaking all of that problematicness with the right lines and the right PR. So you have to be as sincere as possible. So you've got to eat shit, as in you've got to absolutely accept that you're going to look bad. But two, the way that you apologize, you have to take responsibility and you have to have that kind of sincere tone. Don't say, I'm sorry, but I did this for this reason because this is so important. Say sorry and now just talk about your next steps. Just say, I take complete and utter responsibility. Next steps. Be a leader as if you are in charge. Okay, I think I also said you've got to take in all sentiment. So maybe that's 3 points. The final point that I want to say, which is just so incredibly important, is there's this thing that people do when they're doing PR, and they just think that spinning is just the way of doing things. It's just the standard. It's not, it's actually the worst byproduct of public relations. I mean, I've just been doing a reading of propaganda by, I always think, I forget the name. I know the surname, Bernays, Edward Bernays, I think, who is essentially talking about public relations being like propaganda. But yes, you could say that public relations is all about spin. It's actually just about convincing people and communicating effectively. And you can communicate to lead somebody down any kind of path, right? So, why is it that when people are doing PR, they think that they've just got to spin the hell out of them? You don't. You absolutely don't. But what you can do is you can still influence them. There's a way to do that, though. You've got to take in every single bit of audience sentiment that you have, that you own. You have it on your channels, you have it in any surveys you've done, you've taken it all in. So now what you have to do is address each of those. And you can address them in turn, but you've got to do some kind of mapping. Now, as a systems thinker and as a comms practitioner, I do this a lot. So I will do a real mapping exercise of every bit of sentiment, every situation, just everything that's sort of basically occurring, the tensions, the unknowns, everything. And then you've got to just literally sit back from it. It's almost like, when you've been told to do a brain dump or a brainstorm or a mind map, and you do that kind of spray diagram. It's similar to that. It's a little bit more complicated the way I do it as a practitioner, but you can do this for yourself. Put it all down on paper. Put down what are all the opinions. Don't label them good and bad. Just put them all down. Then see if you can categorize them in any way. So try not to categorize them in positive and negative. Just categorize them according to theme, or if it's a service or a product, or it's relating to a certain event or something that sort of occurred. Let's put this down. Next thing, add anything else that you think is of relevance to that sheet of paper. Is it something that you said? Is it how you handled something? Put that down. What's coming up next? Put that down. What are the external circumstances or factors that have basically been influencing the way things are basically panning out? Just put that down. Put as much down as you can. You're trying to build a picture of all the possible interrelationships, the variables, the influences, the anything that could basically have an influence on the way things are going. I'm super simplifying this for you, but get it all down on paper. Now, there's no perfect way of doing this because it's a snapshot of what's going on in your mind, what you think is going on right now from your mind right now, and then the situation is going to change. So that's why this kind of mapping needs to constantly be evolved. It needs to be iterative. It will always need to be tweaked. Because if you don't, that's almost like you expecting your relationship to stay exactly the same as it was when it first started, however many months or years ago. Things always change. Your business changes, audience sentiment changes, your business performance, all of that changes. It's always growing, it's always evolving. So, this picture of what's going on right now is also going to evolve, but at least you've got something down and you can iterate it. You can make tweaks. It can help inform your strategy. It can help inform where you're headed next. You need a little bit of direction, especially when you are an entrepreneur, solopreneur, someone who's managing your business alone and you don't have somebody to do your PR and comms for you. You need to do this kind of mapping exercise so you can get a good sense. I have to pull my hair out, so energetic with that. Get a good sense of it. You can use a partner or a friend who is completely not in the loop. Okay, you could even use your teenager. I might even use I think I have used my 13-year-old from time to time as a sounding board, just to kind of break things down in a way that would make sense to her. And I've ended up sort of simplifying things a lot more. When you're speaking to somebody who isn't in the mix, you can potentially be a little bit more objective. And that's what we need. We need more objectivity. That way you can zoom out more, take a step back. You can be much more reflective and you could probably make a much more informed decision and next step rather than react, because sometimes we're just reacting, and that's not a great way to be. Listen, we are all biased. We have our biases, and we need help to zoom out, and that's what I'm here for, as well as my merch if you're interested. Shameless plug, but no, I'm here for you. This playlist is here for you. Spread the word. Spread the word. I appreciate you listening. I'm going to jump into the next call, but I will see you in the next video. If you want to know more about what I do, it's all pretty much available here on the channel as well as my website link. You can join this channel if you are interested in getting more of inner circle sort of stuff, because I have an inner circle, I have some other tiers. I'm also on Patreon, so you can join me there to find out what I'm doing. I sort of vlog, I've got that going on as well. And merch, of course, because we are biased. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, we all have a very subjective construct and a mental model of how we see the world and how we see things. And it's really important that we are aware of our biases, we are aware of our assumptions, that we are challenging them so that we don't sort of get in our own way and fall into any traps. And I apply this to everything as much as possible. And I suppose you could call that critical thinking. I do use that way of describing it, but I would just say it's a way of being smarter. And that's what we're here for. And that's why I'm here to serve you another shameless plug of my merch. But I appreciate you. Let me know what your issues are, what your problems are with your business, your PR, your comps. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for your time. If you'd like more from me, all my links are provided. And if you'd like a consult, we can figure that out as well. Wonderful talking to you. Wonderful to have you listen. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.